So the government shutdown, I'm sure you saw. So can you explain this one to me? Because obviously, I think Schumer was the one that wanted to, or did not want this to pass, or wanted it to pass, that they would shut it down. The Republicans ended up winning it, and they kept going. Right. This is for the
Right.
finances, correct?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with funding. So we did a funding bill back in the spring that kicked the can down the road till this March, and that was under Biden. So they passed all this government spending that they pretty much enshrined into the budget for the next year going forward. So no matter who won the election, they were stuck with whatever budget was coming. Now we get to the point we have to have a continuing resolution. They can't balance it. They got to live with the funding that we have that was approved by Congress during the last president for the next fiscal year. Okay? So now we're stuck with something till September 30th. All right? The current president said, do it. Approve the continuing resolution. Let's live with the budget we have. We're not going to be able to change it right now,
Right.
right? Let Doge do what they're doing. Let them go in and start uncovering all this fraud and waste. Meanwhile, approve what we have. If not, if you don't do come September or March, is it tonight? If we didn't have it, the government would shut down, meaning they're not going to pay government
Please.
employees. They only maintain the essential, they call it the
Yeah.
essential businesses.
Which is
Okay,
bad because of all the layoffs they've been doing, right? With
right.
Doge, so more people leaving because of not being paid would be a shit show.
Right. So some Democrats, like the AOC crowd, they say shut it down. Nancy Pelosi, shut it down. Go ahead, shut it down. Shut the government down under President Trump, meaning you will grind everything to a halt. He won't be able to do anything. He can't do the court stuff. He can't appeal anything. You grind it to a halt. Somebody like Schumer is saying you can't have a government shutdown with our base because that's all our base. They're not going to have jobs. They're not going to get paid, right?
Right.
So the Democrats put themselves in a lose lose situation, right? And Schumer gave a speech where basically he conceded that we can't do a shutdown. We can't afford it right now with this president and with Doge. Like he dumped it on them. But basically, the Democratic Party, which is in a tailspin, we said this
Yeah, we
before the
talk about it all the
election.
time.
I'm laughing at all these articles coming out now, but we've said this for months. I don't know how this party is still going. I really don't. I mean, I think you're going to see new faces, more moderate faces rise to the surface. Having said that, they're stuck. And the wisdom of Trump's administration said, and the quality of the people he has in his cabinet and in his department said, do it. And we're going to use things like the impoundment clause and the clawback. Because now, thanks to Doge, they have the meat. Now you pass this, and over the summer they have to do things called appropriation bills, where they take the money and say, where's it going to go? And the president has the right, and I'm sure there'll be these little podunk judges like they're doing now, unconstitutionally trying to stop the executive, but he has the right to go in and say, you know what, no, I'm not funding that. So even though Congress passed it, he can say, no, we're not putting money towards that because it's fraud. We've
Oh,
uncovered
really?
it, it's fraud. And then you claw the money back. So, and then come next September, now you start again with another bill budgeting going forward.
When you say next September, you don't mean the one coming up. You mean the year after that.
No, no, I mean the one in
In
September.
September,
So in the
okay.
fall, you have another, because this is just a continuing resolution.
Resolution, right.
So they prove this, now you go to September, and blah, 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 blah. In the past, we have in the past had a balance. People have talked about a balanced budget amendment, meaning everything grinds to a halt until you balance the federal budget. Well, you know what? Now, in light of everything we're discovering with Doge, it's a total joke. We would have balanced it by sending, chunks of money out and just keep taxing citizens. And we're at the point where we need a full accounting. We're learning things that are ugly about our overinflated government, where how do you even budget things? Like, put it in your own world. How do you budget if you don't know what your credit card is? You
Yeah.
don't know what your savings account is? You don't know what's in your
Yeah,
checking account?
trying to budget
You
with
don't know
no
what to budget
information.
to.
Yeah.
Right. So now we're learning that they're pulling dollars out of their ass or funds out of their ass or these expenses, and now you can have some sort of, it won't be perfect, but some accountability. So the shutdown and that's why Trump kind of trolled him saying congratulations for passing this bill.
Yeah.
Schumer didn't want to do it, but you know what? They own that. They created this under Biden. They own it. The Republicans were stuck with it, and now we're putting a different spin on it and saying, all right, we can work with it now. We're stuck with it. And Trump knew it when he was campaigning, that he was going to get stuck with the budget of Biden. But, now we have the tools to claw back some of this money and maybe make some real changes. So the Democratic Party is imploding even more because you got somebody like Nancy Pelosi saying, absolutely not, we shouldn't do this. AOC is screaming. She's got a primary, Schumer, and Schumer,
Yeah.
he as the majority leader or minority leader, he had to, we're going to pass it.
Gotcha.
And I believe there were quite a few Democrats who did vote for it.
Yeah, it was 17-13, 217 to 213 by the end, I believe.
Yeah. So they had a couple moderate Democrats who are starting to see the light. They got to get on board with this because their party is in disarray.
I think there was one Republican that voted the opposite. Voted to.
Yes, that was Massey in the House.
Yeah.
Thomas Massey. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
He had his reasons. He had his reasons because there's debt ceilings and stuff involved. But sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture. You can't win it. If you can't win 100%, you got to take. If you can't win the war right now, you go for the battles.
Yeah, exactly.